Okay, so I'm just going to run through some parts on the kite, just wear and tear that you want to try and avoid, just to check over after you've had your lesson. Make sure that the kite's ready to be used again for the next session, because I'm sure you'll find it. Sometimes you take your kite out, someone hasn't mentioned it, and you're on the beach, it's got a little hole in it, and you need to go back and stop it, so you want to try that. You don't want that to happen. So first thing really, just scuffs. So scuffs on the leading edge, it's usually down by the wingtip here, where the wingtip just comes around and knocks the sand, and then the same just onto this bit of the canopy. Is quite a sort of common place to get the little scuffs. So check all of that, especially if you've been beach flying. If you've been beach flying, then check over the whole kite, because there's little stones and shells all over the beach. It's really easy to just get a nick on the kite, so check it all over, make sure there's nothing damaged. So leading edge scuffs, canopy, little cuts. Check this bit of the canopy as well, make sure nobody's put any stones or rocks that damaged it on the previous lesson or during your lesson. So just have a look. The really easy way to look for holes, because it is quite hard to spot them sometimes, is to just hold your kite up to the light and you can see through it. So if you just hold it up, deflated or inflated, and you can have a look through, hold it up to the sun, and you can find the little holes. Another thing to look out for, which is again quite common, is this. So bulges in the leading edge. So there's 2 rows of stitching on the leading edge. Quite often this sort of second row gets broken just from crashing and it kind of putting pressure on it and popping. It's really common on these joins here. So where you've got this join going around the canopy, so there and there, these parts, because you've got 4 layers of material there, there's lots of pressure on that part of stitching. That's the part that usually goes, so look out for that, because what we don't want to happen is this become a huge blowout, because it's just relying on that one layer of stitching now. So if you see that, get it back in, quickly stitching up. It's like a 2-minute job rather than a massive blowout, which is going to be a right pain. Okay, so another part, we'll just go over to this kite here, are bridles. So on most of the kites we have, this isn't that big a problem. It's the RRD kites and a couple of the others where there's actual joins that can be really easily undone on the bridles, like that. And you can undo that one, and this bit can just be left on the beach. So make sure when your students are taking the kites apart that they're taking off just the normal pigtail section, line off the join, rather than just dismantling the whole thing. So it's happened before, there's bits of bridles all in the sea, I'm sure, from previous kites. So check that, make sure the student's taking the right part, and check your kite when it comes back in, so that if they have left it on the beach, you can have a quick run down and grab it before it disappears. If you do change any pigtails, so any of the end parts here or here, so that it works on your bar, if you've played around with it, just set it all back to normal before you pack up, so that when the next person goes out they don't need to fiddle around, it's all good to go. Last thing is just a quick about the foil kites. So they're a bit less prone to damage really, just little nicks, so they are getting crashed. Just have a quick run through